You're now listening to Dark Matter with Michael Parker, right here on KarmaAir.com.
That's right, folks. It's the cry of the lone wolf walking the perimeter of reality. How's it going? My name is Michael Parker. This is the second hour of Dark Matter here on Karma Air. My guest today, Giorgio Tsoukalos. We are speaking about the idea, the theory of ancient astronauts. One thing I want to ask you, though, Giorgio, is when you started really getting into this and you started traipsing around the world to see these things for yourself, I want to know a couple of stories of incidents that happened to you where when you got to these sites, you're just like, holy cow, I cannot believe. I'd like for those of us who haven't been able to travel to some of these remote areas and see these ancient monuments, if you could just relay a couple of those trips and just tell me about it.
Yeah, no, I would love to share these stories with our listeners here. I mean, it is always amazing that, as you are in this field, you go to some of the archaeological sites and you're not really that blown away. But then there's the one or two or three sites that essentially just floor you and you literally have to grasp for air because you have no clue how the ancients allegedly should have done this with pulleys and ropes.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I'm sorry, I have to laugh right there.
Yeah.
But, for example, I mean, yes, 1,000 things have been said and 1,000 things have been written about the pyramids, but I'll never forget the first time you actually stand in front of that monument. I mean, it is breathtaking. You're told that it's huge, that it's monumental, but you have no idea how huge it truly is until you stand in front of it. I mean, it is so majestic, so massive, that it takes you a while to actually take it in.
Sure.
It is truly magnificent. And then, you have the Osirion and the Temple of Osiris in Egypt, which is built exclusively in a monolithic style with gigantic stones that are fit together so perfectly without any mortar and binding agents, by the way, that you can't even put a dollar bill in between the fittings. And the exact same masonry style, and by that I do mean the exact same masonry style exists halfway around the world in Peru,
mm-hmm.
at Cusco and Sacsayhuaman. It's as if these people, these builders, all went to the same school. And by the way, let me tell the listeners right now, the ancient astronaut theory has never, ever, ever said that all these ancient monuments were built by extraterrestrials.
Right.
They were built by human hands, by human beings, with the assistance of those gods, lowercase g, that assisted mankind in developing themselves further technologically. And I think that all these ancient monuments were built for a reason. They were built as a message for future generations to see. And we are at the brink of being that generation. You, me, our listeners, we are that generation. We've already, the eyes, we're already looking. We are no longer asleep at the wheel. But I think there's a paradigm shift going on where, the whole world will waken up to see that we've never been alone, number one, that we've been visited, that we might be the offspring of extraterrestrials, and that we are but one species in a sea of species out in the universe.
I concur. Mathematically, it is, in my opinion, an absolute impossibility that we would be the singular example of intelligent life in an infinite universe or possibly even multiverses if that exists. I mean, the numbers, it's just ridiculous to even think that.
Here's the crazy thing. I mean, if we are living in an infinite universe, logic dictates that there must be an infinite number of intelligent beings out there.
Yep.
That's logic. So any theologian that starts to clamor that it's not possible and all this, I've been approached with so many arguments, and I've dismantled every single one of them. I mean, it's really funny sometimes how desperate they're trying to debunk this whole theory. And one of the biggest things that I'm always hearing is that, the distances between the stars are way too big for other civilizations who have ever visited us. Because, such a thing as this, a warp speed or the speed of light doesn't physically exist. Well, I'm sorry, that's us human beings talking.
Right, that's our point of view.
Yeah, do we have do we have everything figured out in physics? I don't think so. We're still in the infancy of propulsion systems. Now, even if the speed of light is never attainable, what about NASA's blueprints of what they call generation starships, where you have a crew of human beings leaving the planet?
Mm-hmm.
The initial crew procreates on the starship. The initial crew dies, and the crew that's been born on board of this generation starship continues and procreates again. So only after 4 or 5 generations will they arrive at the destination point. Well, like this, according to Michael Savage in his book, The Millennial Project, you could conceivably colonize the entire galaxy in 64 million years. Now, 64 million years, of course, that is a huge number. It is mind-boggling. But in the frame of the universe, 64 million years is nothing. It's a blip in the billions of years that the universe has allegedly existed.
Mm-hmm.
So, the possibilities are out there just because, you see, unfortunately, mankind has these egocentric way of looking at things, that we always try to look from the inside out. Maybe it should be the other way around, that, let's put ourselves into the position of the others. Because a lot of people always accuse the ancient astronaut theory for saying that, well, why is it that these extraterrestrials, that they look like us? Because they're always described as very humanoid looking. And my retort to that is, well, hold on a minute. According to the ancient scriptures, the gods, lowercase g, gave us intelligence or modified our genetic makeup. So why don't we look like them?
Yep.
You see? So it's always a way of looking at it.
You guys were speaking with Giorgio Tsoukalos about ancient astronauts. In this segment, I want to ask Giorgio's opinion. We've had various guests on with different ideas, and I've gotten into arguments with friends about this as well, although I don't even really think it should be an argument. It's just something for us to all think about. Obviously, Zecharia Sitchin and Erich Von Daniken are the two most well-known authors regarding this field. And any of you who've read Sitchin's work understand the idea of Nibiru. Now, my question is, and for those of you who remember when we had Andy Lloyd on from Dark Star, he puts forth the idea that perhaps we are in a binary star system and that Nibiru is perhaps a brown dwarf star as opposed to a planet. And if I'm understanding him correctly, then maybe there are planets around that brown star. Now, I don't know, but Giorgio, I just wanted to get your take on this. What do you think is going on here? I mean, do you think Nibiru is a planet? Do you think it's a star? What do you think?
Well, I do not have a 100% answer to that. All I can say is that throughout history, we have had traditions, oral traditions, and evidence that suggest that our solar system is not, as heretofore assumed, a single star system, but a binary star system with two stars that revolve inside our system.
Mm-hmm.
And the one star that is allegedly what they refer to as Planet X or Nibiru or whatever you want to call it,
mm-hmm.
is on such a long orbit that it is very difficult for us to determine its existence